Hello, ladies, gentlemen. Welcome back to a Christmas special video. Now, this video, as always, is one of the most requested topics on my channel, so I always make sure to keep it up to date. So, in this video, we'll be showcasing the improvements from my quote-unquote BIS build video in October to now definitely BIS video over here in December, in Christmas, right? So first of all, Merry Christmas to everybody. Hopefully, if you're watching this after Christmas, you got to spend it nicely with your family. And if not, well, I just hope you're doing overall good. But that is not the point of the video. Let's just jump right into it. So I'm not gonna be delaying anything. This is going to be tested and proven. Since the beginning of the game up until now, I've played every single war every single day. So I have about 300, 400, maybe 500 wars behind me. So this is going to be bread and butter for all the bruisers out there. If you're playing Greataxe with Warhammer, this is the video for you. So first things first, let's get this clear. 300 strength, 210 constitution. No matter what you play, this is what you want to reach. How you're gonna reach that, either carrot cakes or rabbit stews, to obviously boost your stats by 40. Nice and simple, right? The next thing everybody needs to know is weapon masteries. Now, weapon masteries, when it comes to Greataxe, you are not really going to be changing this ever. If you're a heavy bruiser, sure, you can go whirlwind, but if you're a medium bruiser, this is what you want to have, and you don't need to change anything from this. This is tested, this is proven, this works flawlessly. When it comes to Warhammer, this is your page, but this is where you can have some sort of more variations. You can have variations with Armor Breaker, Wrecking Ball, and Shockwave. You can have variations with Armor Breaker, Shockwave, and Path of Destiny. However, for this specific video, I will be using this specific build because this is what I've been running in every single war. And this is, once again, what most bruisers should look forward to getting the most comfortable on using. So you have a little Wrecking Ball, you have a little Shockwave, and you have a little POD, and all the little, how should we call them? Passive effects, just on the screen. Copy paste these, they work. Now, let's start at the gear. Let me turn around. There we go. Start at the gear. First of all, best in slot Greataxe. Obviously, we're looking at refreshing move to warning strikes. And then you have two options. You either have a chain lightning, or chain anything really. That's gonna be considered BIS. You have an option of refreshing move thwarting strikes with attunement, any sort of attunement, that will also be considered BIS. And then you actually have another option, which would be refreshing move thwarting strikes and Maelstrom, which is a slightly more supportive Greataxe, but it is a phenomenal one as well, very useful in wars, especially for those heavy bruisers out there. That is what you want to be running. But yeah, this Greataxe, absolute beauty. And now let's also speak about RUNEGLASS at a little bit later stages of this video. For now, we're just gonna go through the armor and weapons. Now, when it comes to hammer, there are arguments where this hammer would not be considered BIS, and I'm very much okay with those arguments. However, if you take a look at any of my videos, the way I use hammer, this hammer is literally perfect for me. Like, this hammer is so fucking good the way I use it, because it allows me to one-hit people in so many situations where they don't expect it. How do I accomplish that? Little POD to get my Kindling Power proc, look for a Wrecking Ball into Shockwave, into a full heavy attack on people without 5 freedom, or 3, or look for a POD to get that Kindling proc into Wrecking Ball, into Shockwave, into a half heavy. And that kills healers, that kills Dex players. I get so many one hits and big hits with this hammer. Like, we're talking 7Ks, 8Ks when I'm running my Mortal Ring, and this is the hammer I absolutely love. However, a better hammer would be something like a thwarting strike Shockwave with a third useful perk. For example, even chain on a hammer can be absolutely solid in this meta because it charges your ultimate quickly. If you are a good bruiser and you weave in those auto attacks with a hammer, it can provide you immense value. But obviously, if you want a free hammer that is very good, you can look for the Commitment, which has Chain Void with Enchanted with Shockwave. You can get it from the Murgard Priest. Or you look for a Cudgel, which is a Shockwave thwarting 2-BIS hammer, which you can get for free in one of the Brimstone bosses. Other than that, let's start moving over here to my Heartrune, and I have a couple of Heartrune options. Obviously, most Bruisers are gonna be running this brutal Heartrune of Detonate, which is, you know, your detonate into dodge grab, dodge shock, spin combo, which is going to net you like one hits very often. However, what I have been experimenting with lately is the brutal Heartrune of Stoneform, and here is why I love running this in wars. Now, this allows me to get my full combo off perfectly without being ever interrupted. So I can Stoneform into dodge grab, dodge shock, spin, and then my brutal Heartrune also explodes on top of that. This nets me multi-kills that I've never seen before, especially when it comes to people pushing through the gate inside wars, and I can Stoneform, dodge grab, dodge shock, spin. I get so many kills, and it is a rune that I've grown to absolutely love. But I've been also experimenting with a bit of a cunning Heartrune of Stoneform. But this was when the very first time the Heartrune was came out, and I came to a conclusion that this one is just simply better through playing it in many wars. You can see all my fresh server wars, I'm running brutal Heartrune of Stoneform. Some of my main server wars, I run this rune as well. And when it comes to the other stuff, let's take a look at the armor. Now, when it comes to the armor, I am intendedly not picking freedom for my medium hat, and that is because I have 4 freedom pieces across the board on my other pieces. You want to reach 4 freedom, but you don't want to reach 5 at the moment because it gets kind of locked. I guess it is okay to run 5 freedom as well, but that is obviously secondary. When it comes to armor on a Bruiser, first you're looking for resi. You need to have 5 resi. Secondly, you're looking to have a gravity well. You need to have 1 gravity well on one of the armor pieces, and then the rest you fill up with shirking. And once you have resi shirking with 1 grav, you then start filling it up with freedoms. So the way you do that, first thing I would recommend you to do is find yourself a piece that has resi, gravity well, and either freedom or shirking. One of these two. If you find yourself a piece like that, then you start building around it. For example, for me, it was freedom shirking resi light legs, freedom shirking resi heavy boots, freedom shirking resi heavy body, and then because I have 4 freedom in those 4 pieces, I was then able to put a little crit retribution over here on the helmet. Now, crit retribution is totally not needed, and arguably not even the best perk. So what you can do, obviously, is have a freedom here, if, for example, you have a resi shirking gravity well on one of your pieces. That is what I would do. Once again, to go through it slowly, resi shirking crit retribution, resi shirking freedom, resi freedom grav, resi shirking freedom, and resi shirking freedom across all my pieces, leaving me with 5 resi, 4 freedom, 4 shirking, and obviously the crit retribution and the gravity well perk. In my opinion, this, someone would argue, bro, just go 5 freedom. Sure, I don't care. This is what I run. This is what I think is phenomenal. And now, obviously, when it comes to jewelry, everybody knows by now a full beast amulet is stamina recovery / protection health. This is going to be the best amulet possible for a Bruiser. If you do not have that, Champion's Amulet is your second best option by far. If you don't have that, you then just start downgrading to stamina recovery and health until you eventually get the Champion's Amulet. When it comes to ring, this is the actual big change in this video. This is considered a full beast ring at the moment for Bruisers. We're talking invigorated punishment, slash damage, and leeching. This is my phone call that I am going to be forced to leave soon because I'm visiting my family for Christmas, because I'm recording this before the end of it. And when it comes to the earring, obviously we got our refreshing toast, regenerating and purifying toast. If you are unable to achieve this, obviously you are going for your Doomschance earring, right? You get strength, you switch purifying toast for refreshing, and you are good to go. And now lastly, this is pretty much everything there is to it, we will talk about the casings. Now, as you can see, my defenses always make sure you reach this 10% elemental resistance. You may be asking why. Most of the ultimates deal magic damage, and good players will be using splitting gems in their weapons in order to provide a little bit of a tick damage in a different form of magic damage, right? So I'm doing slash damage with chain damage, with nature damage with my Greataxe, and obviously I'm doing electric damage and, what is it, strike? I don't think it's strike. One of the damage sources with the hammer as well. And then when it comes to, obviously, the easiest thing to do is put 5 punishing opals on your armor, and then have 3 onyxes on your jewelry. If you cannot find jewelry with onyxes, you then put a couple of onyxes. For example, if your jewelry has opal, you put an onyx in your gear. It's not that needed to be exactly perfect, but I use 5-time punishing, and it is the best option for a bruiser. So what you do is you sacrifice a little bit of defenses to do a little bit of extra damage. In total, 5% extra damage is a lot. Combine it with invigorated punishment, and you are good to go. And I mean, that is really all there is to the bruiser. Now, I could have this video showcase all the basic combos and whatnot, but the most important one on a bruiser that you should always use is dodge grab into dodge shock into either dodge spin or just spin. This is going to be able to proc that gravity well with your spin combo, with your shock wave, and this is going to be your one-hit combo most of the time. The way you can do it even better is to get a couple of left clicks on first, and the reason why you dodge grav is to apply your opal buff, because when it comes to gravity well explosion, it actually predetermines the damage. So if I have, let's call it, if I have a bunch of Mauler's Fury stacks, right? A bunch of Mauler's Fury stacks from attacking, and I then dodge grav, the game remembers the damage I'm about to do, then I dodge shock, and then I spin. And that is going to be a perfect combo to get really used to. And when it comes to healers, you're obviously looking to disturb them with Path of Destinies, or if you want a little bit of sustain, and you can also auto-attack, half heavy like this, and this has an amazing tracking, and it will catapult you further into hitting your enemies. So you do these sort of hits into Wrecking Ball, into Dodge Shock, behind them, into a full heavy, for example. And those are your 2 simple combos. I will do an extended video on that. I hope this helped you. I hope you had an amazing Christmas, and I'll be seeing you around very, very soon. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye-bye.